Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Gardiner Houlgate Auctions based in the UK. We're going to have a look at one of their latest auctions because they have 5 in total. This one is antique and classical guitars. Only 45 lots in this, so a pretty small auction, so we're just going to blitz through it and let's just see if there is anything interesting. Buyer's premium on this is 26.4%. This particular auction is finished on the 8th of September. It's the 2nd today, so a few days left to go. This is a UK based auction, so bear that in mind. Import, export, CITES regulations, all of these extra charges and things, do check it out. Before we get started, just like to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, liking or commenting because it all does really help. Okay, so let's just get straight into it and see what we have. We have a small bodied guitar. Okay, so it looks like a peg tuned figure of 8 kind of parlor guitar there. 100 to 200 is the estimate. Back and sides Spanish cedar, looks interesting enough. The estimate seems fair, nothing too outrageous there. An early 19th century Mircore guitar, indistinctly branded, quite a nice looking instrument there. Interesting bridge as well. Let's see that, 800 to 1200 on that, branded possibly Dubois. Let's see, it's got an ivory exemption there. Overall condition good for age. That's a fairly nice looking guitar. 19th century guitar labeled D&A Rudolph. Okay, 2 to 3000 on that. Looks like it's been restored recently. Charlotte Street, Fitzroy Square, London, ivory exemption. Rosewood surface, lacquered imperfections, repaired patch. Let's just see what's going on. Looks in fairly good condition there. 2 to 3. Not the most exciting looking instrument there, but looks in good condition. Interesting European antique small bodied guitar, once again peg tuned thing. Looks like a bit of a cross between a Baroque guitar and some of the early romantic stuff. So a bit of an interesting one. Interesting buttons on the back. £300 to £500. Ivory sale exemption. Not a lot going on there. Curious enough, it's had quite a few repairs on the top. Interesting German parlor guitar. Back and side bird's eye maple, it seems. 400 to 600 on that. Not much else going there. Not too bad. Don't think it's anything too crazy in all reality. Early 20th century German small bodied acoustic. Okay. Also an interesting Lafleur Varsity small bodied guitar with later mounted pickup. That's a very standard German parlor guitar, and arguably that's slightly more interesting. 100 to 200, that's fairly fair. Right, now we get onto the good stuff. 1837 Louis Panormo guitar, made in England. Louis Panormo, of the famous Panormo family of makers, also probably more famous in certain circles for violins and violas, etc. 1500 to 2500 there. Restored by Arthur Robb in 2009, who is probably the premier restorer of these types of guitars. I've actually met him, very nice gentleman. Yeah, nice looking guitar, Brazilian rosewood there. Interesting, they've got an ivory exemption, but they don't mention CITES for Brazilian rosewood. But anyway, these are great 19th century guitars. Estimate is pretty much spot on, really. Nice instruments. Early 18th century guitar in need of restoration. So kind of Baroque guitar there. Not a super fancy one, although the neck is pretty interesting. If we can zoom in a bit, it's a bit yeah, it's a very interesting looking neck there. 1000 to 2000 there. Probably Italian, apparently. Ivory exemption. That's a fairly interesting instrument. 18th century guitar Batente of exceptionally lightweight. I think we've seen this before. This is what they call like the beating guitar. Really nice rosette there. pretty sure that this was up for auction before and didn't sell. It was at quite a high price, 2 to 3. I think it was at like 3 to 4 or something, for I can't remember. Made in Italy or Spain. Nice looking instrument, actually. Be quite nice for someone's collection. 19th century English guitar, labelled J.C. Menker, 1500 to 2,500. Not super keen on that one myself, but really nice tuners there. Rants, really good. Shame we can't kind of zoom in, but the Rants tuners are really nice type of tuners there, so that's interesting to see. Manuel Rodriguez classical guitar, made in Spain, 300 to 500. 1968 Francisco Barber flamenco guitar, made in Seville, 2 to 4 there. 1962 A.A. Jones classical guitar, interesting headstock there, 800 to 1200. Purchased by the vendor from John Cadman in 1965. Okay, interesting, used by John Cadman. 1999 Brian Cohen classical guitar, 3.5 to 5.5 there. Sold with the original documents from the maker detailing process of the build, or progress of the build. Interesting. Looks like a decent instrument. Admira A2 classical there, 80 to 120. 1958 Harold Peterson classical guitar, back and sides Indian rosewood, 3 to 500. We recently saw another Harold Peterson on another auction. These are pretty good, not super high value anymore, maybe a bit kind of old fashioned, but decent enough. Lucero LC100, I don't know what this is, probably some kind of junky type stuff. Mercian, I think this is pretty similar. Antonio Pinto de Cavallo Koa classical guitar, really interesting headstock there, 100 to 150. Curious looking thing. Let's see what else we got here. Ortega R20 220 classical there, nothing crazy. Admira A5H, I think this is another lower value thing. Artensanus Azar Paolo Santo, well, 2 to 300, nothing too crazy there. 2009 Mangor Bellucci concert guitar, okay, interesting. Let's see, 2 to 400 on that. Quite rounded edges, a little bit odd looking. Karl Hofner classical there. That is not very aesthetically pleasing. Aria Jose Antonio classical guitar, 3 to 500. 1986 Manuel Rodriguez Model C, 150 to 250. 2007 Amalio Berget Model 3 classical guitar, 5 to 700 on that. Yamaha classical guitar with some other guitars. 1978 Giannini AN21 classical guitar. Once again, I think this is a low end stuff. Santos Martinez Raymond Burley signature model, 3 to 500 there. Interesting unbranded classical guitar with zebra wood back, 80 to 120. 1990s Boas Elkman acoustic nylon travel guitar, 5 to 800. Yeah, I think we saw this already in a previous auction, so it clearly didn't sell. 1970s Paulino Bernabé classical guitar, made in Spain, nice maker, 700 to 1,000. Single owner since purchased from the Bernabé workshop, circa 1976. Bernabé, very nice. 1930s Ricardo Sanchez flamenco guitar, 400 to 600. Vincenta Tate Spanish guitar, I think that's a not super exciting one there. 1960s Yamaha dynamic guitar, once again nothing too crazy there. Sigma CM6 classical. Santos Martinez electroacoustic. Classical guitar labelled F Manzanero, made in Spain, 60 to 80 there. Antique Spanish guitar labelled Brightwood and Darcy. Okay, that's interesting looking. 80 to 120, quite a wide body there. Admira Virtuoso classical guitar, 80 to 120. 1998, Amalio Berget Studio classical guitar, 400 to 600 on that. 1982 Manuel Contreras C4 classical, 600 to 800 on that one. 1970s Rockerman Deluxe classical guitar there. And an Admira flamenco guitar, 60 to 100. And that's it, we're back at the beginning. So there you go, that has been the Gardiner Houlgate antique and classical guitar auction, 45 lots, finishing on the 8th of September. Definitely a few kind of interesting things in this auction for sure, especially the Panormo guitar, that is especially nice, and a couple of these other older ones. This Miracle guitar is pretty good. Interesting, the Batente guitar, this other 18th century guitar, so a few good things for sure. So I'll put a link in the description as always. Check it out and see what you think. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao.